and welcome to Talking Class with Roland Ish. I'm Matt, and in this video, we're going to take a look at all 4 subclasses for the Bard class for 5.5 edition or your 2024 Player's Handbook. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out our Talking Class playlist. There you're going to find the 5.5e Bard video. That's going to break down everything all Bards get, levels 1 through 20. It does not talk about the subclasses. That's why we're here. We're going to take a look first at the College of Dance. So a couple things stand out to me about this one, mostly like agility, speed, grace, movement, lots of movement. At level 3, when you take this subclass, you start with dazzling footwork. There's a couple of things at play in this feature. First, you have advantage on any performance check that you make that involves you dancing. So with a performance check, that's probably what you'll be doing anytime you make a performance check. So if you're building a dancer, a cheerleader, a mover, odds are if you're going to try and do that for coin, like a bard would play music in a tavern, you'd be rolling performance. So to have advantage on something that's going to come up a lot, that's really, really great. You also get unarmored defense. This means your armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier, like it normally does, but also your charisma modifier, which is going to probably be your highest ability modifier. And when you count all that, you are going to have a higher armor class without wearing armor than you would if you were wearing armor. But that doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Because if you're wearing leather armor or studded leather armor, which is the only armor that is light that a bard can wear, if you're wearing that, the base AC I think is 11, and then you get to add your dex. What's your dex? A +2? So your AC is a 13. With this, it would be 10 plus your dex plus your charisma modifier. So this is a really great thing. The only other class that even has a feature like this is the Barbarian, which is interesting. So the Barbarian and the Bard, to me, are in different ends of the spectrum there, and it's interesting to see this feature come up. You get Agile Strikes. So when you expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die as part of an action, bonus action, or reaction, you can make one unarmed strike as a part of that activity, which is pretty cool. So I could picture you spinning, dancing around an enemy, slapping them in the face, and continuing your movement. It is going to cost you one of your Bardic Inspiration die, but it might be worth it in certain circumstances. And then there's Bardic Damage. You can use your dexterity instead of your strength for the attack rolls of those unarmed strikes. So unarmed strike is pretty much a standard strength, whatever your modifier is. If you hit, that's how much damage you do. As a bard, you're likely going to be high in charisma, but probably also higher in dex than strength. So it makes sense to have this ability to swap that out and make it land a little bit harder. All of that comes with the dazzling footwork you get at level 3. At level 6, you get inspiring movement. When an enemy you can see ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you could take a reaction to spend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die to move up to half your speed. Then an ally of your choice within 30 feet of you also gets to move up to half their speed using their reaction, and none of these movements provoke opportunity attacks. So if you find yourselves maybe not so much surrounded, but like pinned in by enemies, and you need to reposition yourselves on the battlefield as to not get your butt whooped, this is a great feature to have, the ability to move yourself out of danger, but also one of your teammates. Just make sure you're within 30 feet of some of your teammates to make this beneficial. Also at level 6, you get something called Tandem Footwork. When you roll initiative, you can expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die as long as you're not knocked out. When you do, you roll that. Then you and all of your allies within 30 feet of you who can see or hear you, they get to add what you just rolled to their initiative. You do as well. So the ability to do that when you're entering a fight, you dire stakes must win, or it'll be so advantageous if you went first. This is a great thing. This is a great spend of a Bardic Inspiration die to be able to have not just me, but practically the whole party be able to bump their initiative so we ensure we go first. Love that. That's a huge advantage. Finally, at level 14, you get Leading Evasion. When you're subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed. And if you fail, instead of taking the full damage, you get to only take half on a fail. So this is a feature that typically rogues get innately. But this is really cool. Here's the kicker though. Here's what's different. When you do that, if any creatures within 5 feet of you are making the same dex save, so maybe it's like an area of effect that you're trying to dodge, they too get to share that benefit with you. So it pays, friends, to not only have a bard in your party, but to be near the bard in your party when it comes to combat. That's a game changer. All right, the next subclass we have is College of Glamour. This one's really neat. It uses the energy and the magic of the Feywild. So some pretty cool things are going to come out in this one, starting with level 3, Beguiling Magic. You always have Charm Person and Mirror Image spells prepared. In addition, immediately after you cast an enchantment or an illusion spell using a spell slot, you can cause a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a fail, the target has the charmed or frightened condition, your choice, for 1 minute. Now, a couple things. An enchantment or an illusion spell I'm casting. So maybe I'm using an enchantment spell on one enemy. When I'm doing that, I can pick someone within 60 feet of myself to also make a saving throw and possibly get charmed or frightened. That's like almost like casting 2 spells or having a spell that affects 2 people. That's really great to have at level 3. That's pretty strong. Here's the other part about this sentence. You can cause a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself. Who's to say I don't target my initial target with the first spell, the enchantment or illusion spell that I used to start all this? So I really think that is a really great feature to have at level 3. I would probably suggest that's like a level 6 kind of thing, but it's pretty awesome getting it early. You also get Mantle of Inspiration. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die and roll it. When you do so, you choose a number of other creatures within 60 feet of yourself up to a number equal to your Charisma modifier. So if your Charisma modifier is a +3, this is saying you can choose 3 people within 60 feet of you, as an example. Each of those creatures gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 2 times the Bardic Inspiration die you just rolled. So if you roll a 4, 2 times 4 is 8. Those 3 creatures you picked get the temporary HP. And then each of them, if they so choose, can use their reaction to move up to their speed, full speed, without provoking an opportunity attack. So that's really neat. Here's the thing. A lot of players might read that and think, oh, I'm going to choose me and those 2 people. This clearly states when you do so, choose a number of other creatures. So be careful with the wording on some of these things. As a DM, I've gotten a lot of moments from players super excited to do a thing, only to find out that they might have misinterpreted what that thing was, and then it sucks the air right out of their turn. It always makes me feel bad. So check that out. At level 6, you get Mantle of Majesty. Now you always have the command spell prepared. As a bonus action, you cast command without expending a spell slot. And you take on an unearthly appearance for 1 minute or until your concentration ends. During this time, you can cast command as a bonus action without expending a spell slot. So not only can I bonus action spell right now, but when I'm in this form that starts all this, I can, as long as I keep my concentration, I can bonus action command every turn based on how that reads. That is incredible. If you're not sure, command is a almost like a charm spell, and there are 1-word commands that you can pick to use. For example, you could say flee, and that target needs to then use their turn moving as far away from you as possible. You could say grovel, and now that target drops prone until their turn, or on their turn they drop prone, and then that's all they do. So it's pretty awesome spell, but the fact that you can do this and then keep it going on bonus actions, that's a good crowd control feature. Any creature that is charmed by you automatically fails its saving throw against this command. So let's rewind a second. You have Charm Person and Mirror Image always prepared. So if you charm a target, you can then use a bonus action to cast command. And if they're charmed by you, that saving throw they would need, they automatically fail on the command. So you command them. So that is pretty much the sole reason I would pick this subclass is the battlefield control. Think about all the advantage that it supplies the rest of your party. Okay. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, but you can restore it if you sacrifice a use of your Bardic Inspiration die. So this is a pretty awesome thing to have. And again, to have it at level 6, it seems a little early. That's how strong I feel this is. But hey, let's go. Level 14, Unbreakable Majesty. As a bonus action, you can assume a magically majestic presence for a minute or until you have the incapacitated condition. For that duration, whenever a creature hits you with an attack roll for the first time on a turn, the attacker must make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. And if they fail, the attack that started all this against you misses. And they recoil from your majesty. Once you assume this majestic presence, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. That is the College of Glamour. It's pretty powerful. It's a little trippy, so it makes sense that it's a Feywild thing. This next one is also equally as strong, in my opinion, the College of Lore. So if you're going to do some rapping, some comedy, some poetry, some spoken word kind of thing, this is the Bard for you. At level 3, you gain proficiency with 3 skills of your choice. Now, all bards at character creation get proficiency in 3 skills of their choice. At level 2, bards get to pick 2 of those and make them expertise, which means the proficiency bonus doubles. Even higher of a score now. Here at level 3, if you're taking this subclass, you get 3 more skills to be proficient in. And that's a big deal because as a bard, already having 6 proficient skills, 2 of which are expertise, at level 9, 2 more will become expertise. You're basically saying that half the skill checks that one bard could make, they're going to have a big bonus with it, either through proficiency or expertise. I think that is excellent, and that is a great way to start off this subclass. You also get Cutting Words. And what this does is when a creature that you can see within 60 feet of you makes a damage roll or succeeds on an ability check or an attack roll, you can take a reaction, roll one of your Bardic Inspiration die, and then subtract that number you just rolled from whatever they're rolling right now. That ability check, that attack roll, that damage. Your Bardic Inspiration, that Cutting Words, you just subtracted that damage or whatever that roll was. And if I'm your DM, I'm going to make sure that you tell us what those cutting words were. I want to hear it. What insult are you laying down that is going to have this take effect? That's a pretty cool thing. At level 6, you get Magical Discoveries. This means you learn 2 spells of your choice, but they can come from the Cleric, Druid, or Wizard spell list, or any combination thereof. A spell you choose must be a cantrip or a spell for which you have spell slots. So at level 6, I think you're casting level 3 spells at that point. You're not going to choose a level 5 spell. You don't have spell slots for that. So choose what is available to you. You always have those chosen spells prepared, and whenever you gain a bard level, you can replace one of these spells with another spell from any of those 3 lists, the Cleric, the Druid, the Wizard. So that's another spell that you'll be able to swap out because bards can only swap out 1 spell at level up. So this gives you another opportunity with the one of these 2 extra spells that you just got through Magical Discoveries. So that's really cool. Level 14, you get Peerless Skill. When you make an ability check or attack roll and fail, you can expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration die, roll that, and then add it to the D20 test roll you just made, potentially turning a failure into a success. On a failure, that Bardic Inspiration you just spent is not spent. So you have nothing to lose there. I really like that a lot, and it makes sense for that to be at level 14 because you're a high-level adventurer now, very skilled. Makes sense. Lastly, we have the College of Valor. So if you want to play the bard that is telling epic tales of old heroes, and maybe perhaps start your own tale and be able to wear a little bit better armor and use better weapons and a shield, but still do all the bard stuff, College of Valor is for you. At level 3, you get a feature called Combat Inspiration. So in addition to the options, of dishing out your Bardic Inspiration to your teammates, and they're allowed to use that on a roll that they're making, there are two instances now that are not available to all bards. They're available to you. When a creature is hit by an attack roll, that creature can use its reaction to roll that bardic inspiration die you gave them and add the number they rolled to their AC, potentially turning that hit into a miss. It's called defense. The offense version of that is immediately after the creature hits a target with an attack roll, that creature you gave bardic inspiration to can roll that bardic inspiration die and add the number rolled to the damage against that target. So your inspiration to your teammates is going to cause them to better defend themselves or to hit a little bit harder because you have their back and they know it. You also get martial training at level 3. This gives you proficiency with martial weapons. So now you're able to use all the good stuff. And it gives you the ability to wear medium armor, because all bards, you're only allowed to use light armor. But it gives you medium armor now. And then you can use shields. Holding a shield is +2 to your AC. Now, as a bard, you would think, oh, but I might need my hands to carry my loot because that's where my magic comes from. Well, hang tight. Because as a College of Valor bard, you can have those spells not coming from your instruments, but coming from your weapon instead. So don't worry about leaving your hands free now that you got these ability to use a shield and these better weapons. At level 6, you get extra attack like the martial classes have. When you attack, you don't just hit once, you hit twice, or swing twice, I should say. In addition, you can cast one of your cantrips that has a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. Spell casting is either or. You don't get to swing a weapon and then cast a spell unless you have something like this that allows you to do so. So you can use a cantrip and then attack once with your weapon. Those are your extra attack features here at level 6. That is pretty cool. And then at level 14, you get battle magic. After you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, you can make one attack with the weapon as a bonus action. That's pretty sweet. I'll take it. That, my friends, are the 4 subclasses that are offered to the Bard in the 2024 Player's Handbook, or 5.5e. Be sure to like and comment. By doing so, it puts these videos in front of more people looking for this type of stuff. And we really would like to help new players. So please do that. And if you interact with us, we'll interact back. Leave some comments. What do you want to see next? What do you think about the Bard? What college would you be taking from these 4 options? Let us know. Have fun playing this Bard, and we'll see you at the table.